My life sucks. Where do I start? Man, I love questions like this. Why? Because it's just, we've all been there, and we can all relate with it. And you know what? We'll probably be back there at some point in our life, not because we did something wrong, but because that's how life is. We're constantly changing, evolving, and things are shifting. And man, our lives are complex expressions of a pretty amazing thing. And it's not always going to hit the mark. And so this is a question that came from our board, the Austin Men's Development Group. It's on Facebook. Look, if you are not there and you're listening to this on iTunes or YouTube or Stitcher or some other different place, pause this right now. Go on Facebook, search for the group, enter the group. You need permission. We might put in an application process for that. It's not the Facebook page, there's groups and pages, but find the group. Look, it is an amazing, I'm so proud of it. It's an awesome thing. It's a true community of men who are working towards personal excellence. It's great, man. It's an international group. You don't have to live in Austin. There's some of the best minds on fitness, dating, relationships, entrepreneurship, all there that are working with you. And actually, it's not just those guys. It's the dudes who are workshopping this stuff and growing. It's great, man. A men's group is an awesome thing, and this is a virtual one that is just badass. So go there now, do it, sign up, you get the picture. But we had this question written in, man, and it's something that, just kind of spoke to me a lot because so many guys ask this, so many guys need to hear this, and so many guys who are actually at a high functioning level where, everything is going well in their life and they want to maintain that or get better or have that expression, or, maybe they're kind of, learning something and they're good with half their life. Their health and fitness is good, but their purpose is a little bit off and they don't know where to go with it. Or they could be at a low level where it's like, man, my life sucks. Where do I start? Everybody, every man, in order to move towards his best possible expression, truly needs a foundation. It needs a foundation that can work with them anywhere. You don't need any money for it. You don't need any extra crazy different things. But what you actually need is a relationship with yourself. And man, that is the foundation that we're going to talk about today. And if you do this, and if you give it some time and you work with it, man, all those different techniques, all those different things, all those different wants and needs and desires that you're looking for and that you need for your happiness are going to be fulfilled or replaced with something much, much better. All right, so let's get into this. Now, I wrote an article about this. You can follow along with it. There should be a link down below wherever you're viewing this or listening to this that you can access, where you can find that article. But the first things first is, number one, we have to get rid of this quick fix mentality. Okay. The best things in your life, the things that we're talking about that are really going to change you, make you happy, whether that's your relationship with your body, your physical health, your mental health, your emotions, your expression, your purpose, who you are as a man, your sex, your relationships, your best friends, your adventures through lives, cannot be defined, completed, or fulfilled by something that is going to happen like that. It's not going to happen in an overnight thing. And see, one of the things that's so sad is we're sold over and over again as men, probably because, man, we're in pain. We're desperately looking for something. I mean, just think about that question. What do I do when my life sucks? Man, I'll do anything to get out of there. I'll tell you right now, me, with whatever experiences I have, in any area of life, if I am in pain, I want to get out of there. I'm going to listen to anything that sounds good that will get me out of there. Why? Because I just want to fucking stop. I want to stop the bleeding. I want to stop the pain. But one of the great principles that we have here in TSL, and you're not faulted for that, man. It's like, if you're in pain, get the fuck out of there. That's the best thing you can do, is get out of there. But then we have to move towards the functioning. And one of the principles that we have in TSL says that pain shows us where the problem is, but it doesn't show us the solution. The solution is usually found outside of that pain, right? Okay. And so this quick fix mentality, this idea that oh man, if I could just get this one part of my life handled, everything else is great. No, man, my career, my ambition is good. I'm driven in the right area. But if I could just meet women, everything's going to be okay. Or my dating life is great. I'm having all this sex and I'm successful in it. But man, if I could just get back in shape, if I could just get a relationship with my body, and that's all I want, and that's all I need, I'm going to be good. Man, I have never seen that work out. And see, the thing is a lot of guys go down that road, including myself. And, it's very common. It makes sense. There's nothing wrong with it. But we just have to realize that if we are really going to achieve success, if we are going to really achieve fulfillment, it's somewhere outside of that. And it's geez, man, I can't tell you how many times it's like, look, I just want to get my sex life better. I just want to, meet more women. I just want to not be lonely. I just want to get past the sexual dysfunction. A lot of things that are specifically answered and addressed at TSL. What happens in the long run with those guys is it's like, no, man, it was about unifying everything. It was about a daily practice in a relationship that I learned to build with myself, with my mind, with my body, with my sex and relationships, with my purpose. And that I needed to stop seeing it as something that I could control and get a result with something outside of myself, and rather finding something within me. Okay. And so if we're focusing on it, if we're committed to that true personal development, that true excellence that you're looking for fulfillment, man, and don't fool yourself, man. That is something that we all want. It is a daily practice. Every day, you have to be working towards health with your body. Every day, you have to be working towards health with your mind. Every day with your emotions. Every day with your relationships and how you're connecting and being social. Every day with being sexual and all the things that we were born to be and born to have. And the greatest things about yourself are daily practice and a relationship that you have with yourself that you put out to the world. And see, the problem with this is when we're looking for that quick fix, it's really something that defeats us. It makes us weaker. It's a fear. It's a fear of the failure. It's a fear of dealing with reality and being our expression or living within ourselves in our own skin. And man, the saddest thing about all of that is that when we live that life, we live a life that is not us. It's either a fear, it's a projection, it's an image that we're chasing of something else, and it's a reaction to the inability to live as our authentic selves. Which brings us to the second thing that we talk about, and that is the discipline in the art of authenticity. See, the craziest thing is that when you learn and you work to live a life that is without compromise, and we'll talk about how difficult that is and actually how impossible it is to truly achieve that. But when you truly work towards living an authentic life, the results are two things. All right. Number one, and this is amazing. Number one, you learn to live in reality. Okay. So many times we run from that. We have tons of distractions. If something comes in my way, if I don't like the feeling of something, if somebody's making me nervous, if I feel ashamed about something, if I feel inadequate, if I feel better and somehow empowered because of the social acceptability or the extra, attention or adoration I've been given, I have so many different outlets to take advantage of those things. And so rarely am I just the man that stands with my own 2 feet. That I've forgotten how to speak when I'm afraid. I've forgotten how to say, I don't know. I've forgotten that if I don't know how to do something or I don't like something, I can be scared or fumble over my words or be the guy that, can actually say yes when I want to say yes. And so we're constantly running from this inability, or we're constantly running from this ability to truly be ourselves. And the second thing that happens when we live in a reality and when we can live with our own 2 feet underneath us and to attempt to live without compromise, to attempt to live as an authentic expression of ourselves, is that we then create an ecosystem of what we are and who we are. And really think about this, man. And I know this has been very true for me. I am somebody that has lived with the value, with the principle of authenticity and struggled towards it on a moment-to-moment basis. Why? Because it's very, very difficult. But man, when I am living with who I am and being able to say that and state it with my own 2 feet and realize that I can live with whatever is within me and it's good enough. I can go out there in the world and present myself, and I believe that it is within me to either learn how to do it or show and project to the world my expression. When I do that, I live in a constant feedback loop of reality. If I can't do it, I don't get false success towards it. I don't need to posture for it. And I don't need to learn and discipline myself to being full of shit. But I can find somebody then who can help me accomplish it. Okay, but if I'm not doing that, man, what do I have? And we see this over and over again. We're ashamed of our bodies. We're ashamed of our inability to communicate, so we fake being somebody else. We look for the next best thing. We look for an icon. We look for an image to follow that. We can't be ourselves when we're afraid or when we don't know what to do. And this will happen. I mean, we do at some points have to fake it to make it. But as soon as we can actually get to that goal and be there, man, the real goal is to be yourself and to do it. But we've fallen in love with looking good, feeling good, all those different things. Man, we have an integrity that is basically facilitated by debt. We have a morality that has the moral compass of social media, of likes, of adoration from people who don't know you. And we have a sense of identity that has become a mask. Man, if you can learn to be yourself, to own what you have, to really be able to go out in the world and share that and have that responsibility and stop looking for something else. Start with you. It's one of the best places that you can be at for change. And if you don't, whatever success you get will never be fulfilling. Now, the third thing that you need, and this I would say for anybody who's wanting to get involved in any sort of coaching on any level, is start feeding your mind, feeding your body, and using your mind and using your body. One of the best things that you can do for yourself if you really want change in your life is to start by doing 30 days of eating right, sleeping right, and getting enough exercise. And those may sound like things that are unrelated to your goal, but man, let me tell you something. If your body is working against you, if your hormones are off, if your blood sugar level's off, if you're addicted to, sugars or whatever the hell it is, man, it's impossible for you to be your own expression. If you are not getting enough sleep, if you have not reset, if you have not rested, and you're trying to bypass that and you're going to, I'll sleep when I'm dead type thing. Look, it is impossible for you to be your true expression of yourself if you are not using your body and how it was meant to live. And maybe you might not be in shape or you might not be used to those things. I'm not saying that you need to diet. I'm saying that feed your body with what is good. Eat real food. Use your body. Go for a walk. Go to the gym. Do a little bit. In fact, actually, this is a crazy thing. At the Fitness Institute of Texas, this is somewhere where you can go and get DEXA scans for really cheap. It's really awesome. It's a great thing. It's actually kind of sad because some guy that might measure 10 or 15% body fat on calipers will measure much higher on DEXA scan because they look internally, and it's crazy. It's good. It's good stuff. But, one of the studies that they did was that if you exercised once a week, you had 50% less likelihood of getting a chronic disease that you could die over. I mean, it's crazy. And actually, I could be screwing up that, but it was nuts. Once a week, 1 hour a week, cut your chances in half of getting some specific illnesses. It's fucking nuts. That's crazy. That is such an easy thing to do. But that being said, when we use our bodies, when we get enough sleep, when we're eating properly, we put ourselves in the right recipe where we can, have the most control, the most command over who we are. Man, and I'll tell you this, look, my journey, I did not work out. I did not exercise from 15, or I guess you could say 16, all the way to 30. Did a lot of drugs, man, a lot of problems with chemical dependency in my life. You guys may or may not know about this. Actually, somebody was asking about addiction on the board, man. I mean, like I have had my life totally ruined and dismantled by chemical dependency, hardcore drugs, as well as sexual addiction and a lot of other things. Huge part of a lot of the stuff that I, for one, talk about and a big passion about my life. But that being said, when I turned 30, I was not a healthy individual. I was not somebody that, the things were going right in my body. Okay. And I remember when I started working out, I had to force myself. It was something that did not feel good ever. And for whatever it was, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, I had to dedicate myself. And I actually remember what I did. I did every other day. I did some sort of 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, cardio type exercise. And it was crazy. The first thing was that it was good because my body started to feel like stuff that I hadn't felt in a long time, like my balance and my movement. And I felt empowered because of that, but also I felt nauseated every time I did it. In order to do it, I had to challenge myself mentally. In order to do it, it had to be a big deal. But after a little while, that ran out. Again, no quick fixes. No something that wasn't reliant upon a true lifestyle had, that had to change with how I worked out and how I used my body. And I worked out obsessively for 3 or 4 years, but I could only get so far. I got to a part where I did start to get happy. And again, slow learning, man. I don't do things in efficient ways, but I get there. Some of the times I get there. And about 3 years into it, I started to change my diet. Okay. And I started eating better, and it was crazy, man. It was nuts. It was awesome. Basically, if you want it real simply, I don't want to be dogmatic about certain diets because there's so many different ways to do it. And again, it can't be about a diet. It has to be about a way of life. But starting to eat real foods, cut out the processed stuff. For me, it was meat, vegetables, fruit, nuts, stuff like that, but not the breads, not the processed, carbohydrates or whatever, not the insane sugars. And to be honest, you know what? I eat a lot of, stuff here and there. I'm not some dietary discipline guy. And if I actually were to go get a DEXA scan right now, I'd probably be, you wouldn't look, it may not seem like this, but I'd be at probably about 25% body fat, which is not good. I should be at 17 or something like that, or maybe even less than that. But the thing about it is that when I started to do that, the weight started coming off. My brain started changing. My mood started changing. I started getting into a place where I could think more clearly. And it was such a crazy thing because it was like, man, holy shit, for 30 years of my life, seriously, I've been imprisoned by this shitty way of eating. Man, what the fuck? What a waste. And it was just so crazy to have that clarity. Now, the thing is I didn't become Superman. I didn't become superhuman in these different ways, but there was an alleviation. I still needed to sleep. I still needed to rest. I still got tired. But man, when I was on. And it was such an amazing thing. I got to build a new relationship with my mind. I got to build a new relationship with my body. I got to then go, well, wait a minute. What happens if I want to start taking care of my mind and feeding my mind? What happens when I start to meditate? What happens when I start to get proper sleep? What things start to happen then? And in that, you can kind of, not even kind of, but you get into a new full expression of yourself. Now, look, if we're starting out and we're at a basic level, that's a lot of stuff to do, but this is the foundation of what people do that are successful. Man, look, if you're starting out, your road is not going to be quick. It's not going to be something that's immediate. It's not going to be something that is often sold to you when you're looking for that change and plagued by that desperation. It's something that's actually very available and something that you could probably do right now, but you have to work towards it. It's a relationship with who you are. Remember, the greatest things about you, your mind, your expression, your sexual communication, your friendships, man, these are great things and they take daily use of. But in order for them to be there, you have to be you. You can't compromise yourself. You can't run from that. Okay? Reality demands you to show up for it. And if you're always making an excuse to hide from it or find something to distract it or alleviate it or not feel bad, or when you feel afraid, find something to avoid that or look better or posture or fake it in some sort of way, you're never going to get to a point of fulfillment. And if you really want change and you want your body to be speaking and resonating with that change, your mind to be resonating with that change, you got to do something to cultivate it, man. Take 30 days, eat well, sleep well, exercise, use your body. See how you feel with that. And when you're there, man, literally, that is the best place, the best foundation to get started on wherever you want to go.